Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maddie and today I'm going to be giving you my April wrap-up. I read 7 books in the month of April and I'm just going to get straight into them. The first book I read was Safe Haven by Nicola Sparks. I love Nicola Sparks movies and I own a ton of his books, but prior to reading this one I had only read one of his books previously, so I decided why not give his books a try considering I own like probably 15 of them. And this one is one of my favorite movie adaptations of his books, so I decided to read this one first. This is primarily a romance, but it's also got thriller vibes throughout it because the main character is on the run from something and you don't know why she's afraid, you don't know what she's running from, and she is afraid to make any attachments while she's living in this new town because she is afraid of her past coming back to haunt her, and she's also afraid of having to up and leave. I really enjoyed this one and I'm not sure if I give it a 5 stars, 4.5, 4.75, somewhere around in there. I really loved it. The next book I read was The School for Good and Evil by Soman Chanani. I'm so sorry. This is a middle grade story about these two characters in kind of like a fairy tale world, and in this world every year 2 children disappear and are taken to the school for good and evil. Basically the school is separated into 2 different groups. There are the people trained to be heroes in a fairy tale story, and then there are the people trained to be villains in a fairy tale story. And things get complicated in the story when the 2 main characters are chosen to attend this school, and one of them thinks that she belongs in the school for good and the other one thinks she belongs in the school for evil, but that may not be the case. I did like this story, but I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. Next, I read Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. This is like a YA werewolf story. This girl lives in a werewolf town and she is the only one that knows that they are werewolves, and things happen when she starts to fall in love with a werewolf. I have heard mixed things about this series. People either love it or people don't like it that much, and they say that it's one of Maggie Stiefvater's like worst. Hello. Alright, where were we? I really liked this book and I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read The Best of Me by Nicola Sparks, and this is one that I have very mixed feelings about because I like the general story. However, this book is primarily focused on marital cheating, which is not okay. So it kind of taints my opinion of this book. And honestly, cheating is a very common theme throughout Nicola Sparks' books, and I knew to expect that going into this book because I have seen the movie. I do like the story and I like the characters. Honestly though, I think I like the movie more than the book. Next, I read the very popular Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is a fae story. It's about these 3 young girls who are taken away into the land of fairy and raised in a very prestigious household. But because 2 of these girls are human, they get bullied a lot at school, and the fairies are not nice to them at all, and they're very controlling and manipulative. And this book has a lot of political intrigue. Basically, the king of fairy is getting old, and so he wants to retire, and he has to name one of his children to take his place, and there's one particular son that everyone knows is going to take over the throne, but there are a lot of people who do not want that. This book also has some romance in it, which did not make a whole lot of sense to me, even though I enjoyed it. I really liked it, but I also had some issues with it, and I will say the first half of this book was kind of boring. The story didn't actually start picking up and like things didn't start happening until like halfway through. So I was very disappointed by the beginning of the story, but I really liked the ending. Next, I read The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This is a like meet cute romance that happens in one day. It follows the story of this Korean boy and this Jamaican girl, and the girl is actually going to be deported later that night. So the whole day is about her trying to meet with different lawyers, trying to figure out how she can stay in the country to prevent her and her family from being deported. And the boy is supposed to be spending the day getting ready for an interview into Yale. And this is a story about them meeting, falling in love, and what happens in their personal lives as well. I did like this book, but I did not love it. I knew going into it that it would be insta-love. I knew it would be kind of cheesy, and it was. But I feel like as far as like a one-day romance goes, I feel like the author handled it very well, and it was written to be pretty believable. And I really like how this book ended. Like, I do not feel like it could have ended any other way. I did really enjoy it, and I'm excited to watch the movie adaptation when it is released. And lastly, I read The Choice by Nicholas Sparks. This is another one that focuses on cheating, and I liked it, but it's definitely my least favorite of his books that I've read so far. I was not particularly gripped by the romance. It was definitely cute in some places, and it does have the hate to love trope, which I love, but at the same time, because one of the main characters is already in a very serious relationship. She's in a relationship with someone that she loves and she plans on marrying, and then all of a sudden this new guy comes in and she has to make a choice on who she wants to be with, and I wasn't all for that. I will say that this book is not what I expected, and the main premise of the story isn't all that there is, because I don't want to spoil it for you, but the second half of this book is completely different than the first half. Like, it focuses on a completely new choice, and you're not sure what that is until the end of the story, and I really enjoyed that aspect of this book. That's probably my favorite part about this book. If I'm looking past the problematic issues of this book, I would give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. Alright, those are all the books that I read in the month of April. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books and what your thoughts were on them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more bookish content by me. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.